Okay, welcome back to another album reaction. Today I'm gonna go back to Radiohead, as everybody was saying that next up I should either listen to In Rainbows or Kid A, because in the last video I reacted to OK Computer. I also had a Pink Floyd recommendation. In order of fashion, because Kid A comes before In Rainbows, I'm gonna give Kid A a listen. The audio is fixed in this as well, thankfully. So, I'm really excited for this. So as per usual, I like to do my research behind what the album is about, and on Google here it says that it's a reflection of what comes after OK Computer, so like the anxiety, disillusionment, social alienation, and trying to figure out sort of like who you are in that sort of sense, and just trying to sort of figure out and navigate like modern life in this technological world. I also saw this post on Reddit here that said it was sort of about Tom, who is the band member, trying to understand his own feelings and emotions behind him being an introvert, but then constantly having to do tours and be around like a lot of people. And it's part of this, he's trying to figure out, you know, how he can keep himself intact while also having to face all of these other people. First up on Kid A, we have Everything in Its Right Place. So this song is obviously the opening song to the album. This is where Tom talks about depression, change, confusion in the state of the world, while, you know, like we're trying to find a place in this existence. Apparently, the stripped-back lyrics come from Tom experimenting with different writing techniques to combat his writer's block. Okay, this is really cool, because I find I make my own music that a lot of the times you can hit writer's block, like, completely in the middle of, like, a creative spree, and then sometimes I felt like I'll never be able to write lyrics again. So, in my last reaction, I said how I find Radiohead's lyrics to be very experimental and sort of like really intriguing, so I'm curious to see how this sort of follows. I'm not really sure what I'm expecting from this to sort of give like a pre-judgmental kind of thing. I'm expecting like a little bit of a rock theme from OK Computer, but I feel like there's also a lot more of like maybe it's more like digital sounds come into play here. I'm not entirely sure, but without further ado, this is Everything in Its Right Place. Oh, I think I've heard this before, or at least the start of this. Okay, that's really weird, that sound, and yeah, that's so intense in my right ear. And then they're just repeating the album name here in the other ear. His voice. I actually have goosebumps. Oh my god, his voice is just so beautiful. What the heck? Yeah, I think I was kind of right with the more digital sound that they're going for here. I mean, you know, it is just the first song, so I could be wrong. But the drums in this are more like software instruments than, you know, the actual drums, which was very heavy in OK Computer. But like I said, it could change. Yesterday I woke up sucking a lemon. What? Oh, okay. So after looking on Genius, this song is supposed to sort of be, I guess like a bittersweet feeling, because it says that this was when Tom York was very depressed. The face that you make when eating a lemon is the same thing as sort of when you're sad or stressed, kind of, which is what this says here. From me listening, just simply looking at the lyrics, yesterday I woke up sucking a lemon, I feel like the fact that he says I woke up makes me feel like you're waking up expecting like this good day, you have like a mindset shift, and then suddenly life kind of hits you and a scenario flips this whole thing around and your day kind of becomes bittersweet. What was supposed to be a great day kind of suddenly shifts and becomes a bit more sour. That's how I kind of perceive the lyric, I guess. How can a man make those lyrics of sucking a lemon sound so good? That sound! Oh wow, it's completely changing now in my right ear here. Something I love about Radiohead is how I find, like, everything is sort of, it has a meaning, but you can also interpret its meaning however you want through the instruments and also through the lyrics, which is what I like. Like, I love the juxtaposition between his voice and how his voice sounds and with how the music sounds. Like, the music sounds like, I feel sort of like there feels tension within the music, but yet his voice sounds beautiful. Again, this is exactly what I mean. The previous album is, you don't have to have a lot of lyrics or complex lyrics to make a song sound good. Like, this guy is repeating the same lyrics, and then there's a change in it. It still sounds amazing. Kind of feels like something is ascending here. That synth is it's like so gritty, and then the drums, just how like constant that is. I love how Radiohead kind of have like this balance between lyrics and the instruments. Each part of the song gets its own kind of time, if that makes sense. I really like that synth, because it's now like nice and clean, but it went like a little bit gritty before. That was an interesting start to the album. Very different to what I was expecting. I'm not sure what I was expecting, but that is very different to, you know, anything that I did potentially was thinking about. But I have definitely heard that song before in terms of the dum-dum-dum. I have heard that before. I think it's been on many like various like TikTok, Instagram reel things, and I just realized that this album was released on my birthday. I wasn't born in 2000. I'm not that old yet, but it was released on my birthday. That's pretty cool. Next up, we have got Kid A. And this song, it's expansive. Apparently, it's one of the more challenging songs on their album. Yeah, here it says that the opener of the song is, like, it has a lack of guitars and, like, drums and just any, I guess, like, real instruments, if that makes sense. And while some of the lyrics make clear references to literature and politics, it's unlikely that Tom intended for the song to carry that intellectual meaning. Okay, so that's really interesting. So the lyrics here are not meant to be interpreted, I don't think, specifically too much, because here it says that you're more kind of listening to the sound of the song rather than the exact lyrics that he's singing. And it says here that when writing this song, it was almost as though the lyrics were wrote, like, you have a hat, you put in slips of paper, and you just keep on pulling, you know, words or phrases or sentences out, and that's kind of like the lyrics. I don't think the lyrics are meant to be looked into too deeply in the song. You're kind of more, the emotion and I guess the power of the song comes from the instrument and Radiohead's own creative process in this. So it starts off with an instrumental, it says here. I'm so intrigued by this album. Like, I feel like Radiohead are just so experimental. This is, I don't even know what to say. It's just so intriguing. Like, what? I feel like this is potentially going to be an experimental album. Like, even more so than OK Computer was. Because I know OK Computer was a little bit more experimental to the bends in Pablo Honey. We just start off with this massive instrumental. I like this. This sound is beautiful. I love this. Ooh. Okay, there's some drums. Yeah, these lyrics are interesting. And the way that the vocals have been mixed. Yeah, I was gonna say, I wonder what the creative process behind this was supposed to be about. I feel like I can see what was it that they said, like the political meaning behind this, which maybe they didn't intend, but I guess I can see where it's coming from. Like, we've got heads on stakes. Like, we're kind of vulnerable, and you've got ventriloquists. Like, you're like the puppet master who's just controlling us. That's my interpretation of the standing in the shadows at the end of my bed. It's almost like someone's just watching over you while you sleep. But this vocal production is a very interesting, like, creative choice. But the drums are really groovy. I feel like the drums sort of are in contradiction to the rest of the song. Like, you've got like these really groovy, vibey drums, and then you've just got like these random sounds which are intentionally placed, and then they come together and make this, okay, this is amazing, this is like rising. I feel like I'm like ascending into like a dream world or something. I really like that melody. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, these synths are so beautiful. Oh, that bass is so good. Okay, this is what I like in Radiohead, is their bass and the drums when they come so good together. I want more of that. I want more of the bass, more drums. Okay, that was a very interesting song. I don't know how to explain this, but it felt like there was just like that like the creative decision behind this was like press random notes on a synth, but yet done with intention, if that makes sense. Like, they're random, but not random. The vocal production was just... I mean, I was just expecting to hear Tom sing, but this was totally different. Sorry, I'm trying to, like, process how I'm feeling and reacting about this. And up next, we've got the national anthem. Okay, I do see that there is a looping heavy bass line, which I am interested in. And apparently it was composed by Tom when he was 16 years old, which is pretty cool, and inspired by Olivia, that name. And apparently we've got more sort of ambiguous lyrics, a lot of more distortion, and this album here, in the third song off of Radio's experimental album, is described as being experimental. It seems to be very, very different to, I sort of feel like, anything that they have done before, maybe. Apparently they'd attempted to record the song a couple times before actually releasing it because they felt that the song was too good, and originally the song was called Everyone, so I wonder what made them go from the creative decision of changing the name of a song from Everyone to the national anthem. See, this is something I find really intriguing about Radiohead, is that I feel like there is an intentional choice behind everything they do. When I write a song, typically the name of the song is a lyric that I repeat the most, or just something that kind of stands out to me in the album. Whereas I find Radiohead, there is intention and selection and reflection in everything that they do. I mean, they were gonna call the song Everyone. I presume I can see the word everyone here a few times. Yes! Oh, I love that bass line. Yeah, I'm happy. Oh, yeah! Some drums. Let's go. Okay, this is what I was hoping for. I know it's an experimental album. I wasn't trying to get my hopes up, but this is what I live for with Radiohead. I'm interested to see what they've done with the vocal production. I mean, I guess I'll find out. But I did hear, well, when I was reading, it looked like the vocals might be produced differently. Woohoo! Those drums! Sorry, that took me a whole, like, minute to process. That the drums had changed and that I was listening to, like, cymbals. Oh, that sounds so good. I find something that's so amazing about Radiohead is they can just repeat the same thing, but yet it still draws me in because they, like, layer it ever so slightly with the instruments, and I find that is so amazing. Like, listen to how different this sounds already. Oh, and we go back to just the drums and the bass. The vocals feel very distorted. It sort of sounds like his vocals are being let out of an amp, and you can hear like the little screechiness that comes from an amp sometimes. I'm interested. He literally just repeats like the same lyrics. I'm curious as what this is. So apparently everyone around here, everyone is so near. Oh, sorry, what? Just introduced like some brass? Experimental. Oh, ooh! I was not expecting that. I have actual goosebumps. I don't really know how to explain this because I feel like what I'm about to say is going to sort of contradict itself, but they have this sort of beautiful bass line with these drums, and then these synths which kind of come in, and then this trumpet comes in and it sounds really good. Oh, sorry, this brass instrument comes in and it sounds really good, and then now suddenly it's like they have selected the instruments to sort of sound like they're clashing together. Like, if I was to just listen to this from like a new artist, I would be like, it doesn't really fit, but that's what makes it like so gritty, and it pulls you in more, because it's just like, it shouldn't work, but it does. Sorry, as I was gonna say, this, I think the lyrics, like everyone around here, is sort of supposed to be like the disbelief that Tom has over his rising fame. Radiohead, I don't know how they do this, but they have this way of being able to control a song. Like, yes, I know that they're writing it, but they're able to put so much into a specific part of the song, but then everything that they've just put in, they take it back so easily, but then they can also bring it back. I'm not gonna lie, this sounds like a balloon deflating. Like an F1 race when the tires are going around. I'm sorry, that I don't know if that's offensive, but no, it's like the bass and the drums work so well together that you kind of want to groove, but then the music is like so eerie and like incoherent. Oh man, I love this when it sounds like it's transitioning into like another song or like time and place. Wow, okay, that was interesting. It's like, I really like that, but it's also, it's like so incredibly experimental that it feels like a different song. It feels like there's sort of been like multiple people. I mean, I know that there will have been multiple people who have wrote this, but rather than it just been like multiple people, one creative decision, it feels like multiple people, multiple decisions just like stacked upon each other. But yet it works so well because it's done so intentionally, and like the blend of the drums and the bass with like this beautiful brass that comes in to then the contradiction of the brass. I feel like I'm kind of like drawn in and sort of like been swept off my feet because I want to know what's next, and like I'm curious as to why they've gone with that decision, if that makes sense. Like, sometimes you can just listen to an album or listen to whatever and the songs come very much at face value, whereas this, like, you have questions at the end, and I like that, I'm not gonna lie. But up next, we do have How to Disappear Completely. For me, this kind of feels very representative of, like, mental health, and how sometimes, like, when you're at your lowest, you kind of just want to disappear from everything, like, just sort of get away from life. But in a certain sense, you know that no matter where you go, everything is going to follow you because it's you, if that makes sense. Let's see what the About is about. Apparently it was based on a dream that Tom York had, which he was floating around a city as if he were a ghost. The chorus also came from advice that Michael Stipe of REM gave him during the OK Computer tour so that he could get away from everything. The aesthetic of the instrumentals and the vocals in the song dovetail nicely, resulting in an almost impressionist effect, where the band sonically recreates the sensations and mind states of those fleeting, dreamlike, or seemingly hallucinatory glimpses of life. In this ethereal, mind out of body and time aesthetic is carried through Kid A. Oh my god. Apparently the title's taken from a book, How to Disappear Completely and Never Be Found. A guide on faking one's death and establishing a new identity. Wow. That's kind of crazy. Why would you write a book about that? But I'm very excited to listen to this. I love songs that have like a very dreamlike, ethereal kind of feel. So without further ado, let us begin. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh my god. Oh, that bass is so good. It's like a walking bass, it sounds like a little bit. Oh, his vocals. Man, I don't think I'm ever gonna get over Tom's vocals, man. There's just something so unique about them. And like, it's almost like you can hear the emotion that he is feeling whilst he sings, like with the lyrics themselves. Again, Radiohead just seem to be able to seamlessly do this thing where they can have like two parallels of music together in one and make it sound so good. Like, you've got like this beautiful guitar with his beautiful voice, and then like this walking bass which feels completely different to the song, and then other instruments sort of laid over the top. I actually really like this song. There's those drums. Oh, it sounds like those strings are kind of following Tom's melody, or his melody's following the strings. Depends how you want to look at it. From the lyrics, for me, it kind of feels like Tom's sort of like having an out-of-body experience. Like, he physically is there, but like mentally is like somewhere else. Like, the strobe lights and blown speakers, I'll be gone, the moment's already passed, I'm not here, this isn't happening. It kind of feels like he's sort of in disbelief about the life that he is living and the things that he gets to do because of his fame. If that kind of makes sense. But I feel like this is also kind of very applicable to real life as well. Like, sometimes, especially when you're going through a hard time in your life, I feel like you're physically there, but mentally you are like somewhere different, and it's like, this isn't happening to you. Your world just kind of feels like passing by you. And like the strobe lights, it's like stuff's just, you know, passing by you, but you're not really experiencing any of it. You're just there. I love the added sound. His voice just conveys so much emotion. It just has so much power in it. Between the national anthem and How to Disappear Completely, thus far, these are my two favourites. Ooh, that falsetto was beautiful. Yeah, I can see where the whole like dream-esque state comes from, like with the strings coming in, and he has like the instruments following his vocal line, it feels like. And then here, again, just completely changes up. Like, it feels like it kind of becomes eerie. And then, this is what I mean, like Radiohead, they bring it, they pull it back, and they bring it. I love this so much. Like, I actually really love this song. It feels like my soul is connecting to this song. That was How to Disappear Completely. I'm kind of speechless, honestly. We don't know the lyrics for this one. I felt I connected on a different level with that, How to Disappear Completely. Yeah. Whew. Whew. Anyway, moving on, we've got Treefingers, where it seems that this song is just an instrumental. Okay, let's read the about. Treefingers is is Kid A's fifth track, and the first instrumental track to be featured in a Radiohead album. The song acts as an interlude between How to Disappear Completely and a song centered around loneliness and Optimistic, a song that serves to critique society's consumerism. Ooh. Am I okay? Can I read? This track illustrates Colin Greenwood's desire to make an album that was neither too long nor boring, according to that website. Although the track sonically resembles a synthesizer, it was created using samples of Ed O'Brien's guitar, which were warped using heavy effects and then... Wow. Okay, I'm excited. Let's just hop in. It's just a pure instrumental, this song. I'm really intrigued and excited as what this is. I feel like I'm in space. Like, this feels like something that I would hear whilst watching a movie about, like, a man or a woman, like, landing on space for the first time, and they're, like, sort of, you know, slowly walking across the moon, like, the ground that they finally reached. I don't know why that reminds me of that, but I can't believe that this was created using samples of Ed O'Brien's guitar. I'm not gonna lie, I really love stuff like this in albums where it's telling a story rather than just a bunch of songs like put together. Like the fact that this was placed specifically to be a bridge and an interlude between How to Disappear Completely and Optimistic. Like, I don't know, I just think that being able to make creative choices like that I think it's very admirable and something that I really look up to. Like, I love listening to an album that feels like it tells a story. It feels very peaceful. I feel like I'm very at peace listening to this. Like I said, how is this someone's guitar? I feel like I could close my eyes to this song and feel like I'm being transported to a different world, different place and time. Okay, well that was Treefingers. I'm intrigued as to why they called it Treefingers, but you know. Next up, we have got Optimistic. Okay, this song is seen to be one of the more popular songs on the album, although I say that. This song, these three, have a lot more. Apparently, it's supposed to be like a story of sort of two people, and the first verses is describing like a greedy, exploitative attitude in consumerism, while the optimistic second verse mentions like how the system works, and it seems to be like breaking that down. And apparently the chorus contains the wisdom or message of the song, which is that the realization of what one can actually do can lead to a kind of satisfaction, though perhaps not a cheerful one. I'm intrigued. So it's about like morals. It's a theory, okay, wow, that distinguishes right from wrong. Already starting off, how I like it. Guitars, the drums, I'm excited. The drums are very different in this though, I like it as well. It's like, just seems to be like on the toms, I think. If there's oh, I like that. Keeping the drums the same, but completely change the guitar. And then you've got that acoustic guitar that comes in. Yeah, I guess this picking up every last crumb. Like, just savouring every single thing and leaving nothing for anyone. I haven't listened to this guy's voice in like a couple minutes because the last song was interlude. And I already missed this guy's damn voice. Oh, there's just something so unique about his voice, man. It's like, it's so addicting. Woo! Okay, whoa. I'm conflicted. This guitar is like epic in this ear, and then this guitar is like, wait, okay. What I'm gathering, this whole first bit here is about like a guy who's greedy, he takes everything for himself, and then this next part seems, maybe it's a bit more of like, not naive, but when you're like very specific about what you do. Intentional, there we are. This seems to be a person who's a little bit more intentional about how they live their lives and tries not to be as consumeristic, but like the naivety I think I was meaning comes from, like, the optimism. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's the vibe I get. The best you can is good enough. What a powerful lyric. Ooh! Hold up, what? The drums! Oh, now we've got, like, a groove going. Let's go. Ooh, I'd really like to help you, man. Indicates that everyone would would love to help in consumerism, but no one really takes the time to do it. It says, our society is full of empty gestures driven by self-interest. So it seems a bit of like an ego game. Like, we say that we want to help out because it makes us feel good, but then we don't do it, but we still say that we will for our ego. It's here. It says, I'd really like to help you. A sentence which really means nothing once you get to the bottom of it. To me, that kind of comes across as like, actions speak louder than words. Oh, that groove comes back. Hell yeah. Oh, a nice little guitar solo. Yes, I've been waiting for one of these. Oh, I thought the drums were about to change there. I was about to get so hyped. I feel like when he's like using the snare, like the tempo of the song's about to change, but it doesn't. Oh, wow. Oh. Oh, now it's got a bit of a funk to it. See what I mean? Like, Radiohead just combine like multiple genres into one song, and it works, and it sounds so good, and it's done with like such intention. Okay, that kind of feels like this song is leading into Optimistic is leading into this new one called In Limbo. In Limbo is supposed to be about, okay, it's supposed to be like a very dreamy, ethereal song again. Apparently the themes of it are loneliness, being lost, confusion, and water. It was originally called Lost at Sea, which I guess makes sense if you've got the water feeling and the sense of being lost. Apparently the theological meaning of limbo is that of a place outside hell and heaven to which unbaptized infants, or in this case lost people and the righteous who died before Christ's coming, were traditionally consigned. Wow, this seems to have a bit of a deeper meaning behind it. The inspiration derives from Dante's Inferno, a book which Tom's then partner Rachel Owen was a specialist on, and apparently Tom just got like really invested in this whole In Limbo theme, and I think he started to sort of write a song that was how he perceived In Limbo to sort of feel like, if that makes sense. He doesn't mean for it to be like a bad place, but it's also not necessarily like an amazing place to be. Therefore the metaphor of In Limbo is sort of explained as like a writer's block. Let's just begin. Yeah, I feel this sort of being a part, oh, I was gonna say I feel this being a bit of a part of continuation from the previous song. Wow, and then those guitars just, okay, this feels very experimental. I like it. Oh, that guitar, that's really nice. Yeah, I was gonna say, wait, the whole In Limbo feeling when Tom says that it's not meant to be a bad place, but it's not really like a good place, I kind of get that feeling from the guitars. Like, it sounds really nice, but then kind of goes like, whoa, kind of thing. Like, do you know what I mean with the sound of that guitar? It sounds really like good, but at the same time, like, it's like going against itself. Hold up, there's so much to process in this. This is what I mean, like, if you look at this, he mentions the shipping forecast. It's literally a BBC radio program where the announcer reads out the weather report, and this is what I find amazing about Radiohead, is that they can take such like a mundane thing and make something so intricate and detailed and powerful out of it. And like, what the heck, like, I'm on your side, nowhere to hide. Yeah, the line I'm on your side represents being friendly, but combined with the subsequent line, nowhere to hide, ominous and not so friendly. Like, this is what I mean, like, oh, they're just so amazing at what they do. Like, being able to write a song, including things from, like, a BBC News radio report, like, what? Like, that's so creative. And then, I feel like the lyrics here are matching the instrumentation here. You've got, like, this friendly side to it and this not so friendly side to it, which is what I was meaning with the guitars before. I feel like the emotion in his vocals, I don't think I'm ever going to get over his voice. I feel like this You're Living in a Fantasy World, it was meant to sort of imply how Tom was feeling again with the popularity of the album and kind of just been thrown into like this world of fame. But I feel like it feels sort of representative for like yourself as well, of like, you're living in this fantasy world, if we're looking at the OK Computer side of things, it's almost like we're living this world that's just like on our phones. It's hard to distinguish what's real, what's just edited or, you know, just put out into the world. And I feel like the song is like very relatable in that sense as well. That kind of sounds like a car, like when it's revving. But next up we've got Idioteque. Idioteque? That's what I want to say it's pronounced as, but I could be wrong. Again, they're going for like this experimental thing here where they explore like the more like electronic instrumental side of things. And apparently this is possibly the greatest departure from their earliest sound. So I feel like that could be taken in, I guess, maybe a few ways. Like either this is the best sort of experimental song that they did, or it's like the biggest goodbye to like the rock kind of sound, if that makes sense. In the about it says, here is the paranoia of enroaching technology. The central image of the song is a nuclear holocaust as well as global warming. Wow. The samples in the background are from minimalist composers Paul Lansky and Arthur Krieger, now a professor of music at that college. The title would refer to a collection, tech, of idiots, or a collection of peculiarities, idiosyncrasies, or it could refer to a dance club, discotheque, run by idiots as a metaphor for the world dancing, fooling around with meaningless frippery while our destruction approaches. Wow, okay. What I've collected from the about, especially that little part, seems to be like the song is based around a person who's kind of like oblivious to everything that's going on around them. They're kind of just like dancing, prancing through life while everything around them is sort of collapsing. Are you ready? Because I am. Okay, already starting off with a strong contender of a lack of guitar and drums, I see. You know, I'm actually really interested to see how they would play this live, because obviously there's like a lack of like physical instruments. So I'd be really interested in how they actually played this live. I kind of like it though. It's got like a good dum dum dum. I like the snare. Sounds like really like it's got a lot of reverb on there. And this sound I can hear in this ear. It sounds like, you know, like when you're at like an arcade thing and you've got like the slot machine where all the money's coming out. Wow. Okay. There's so much going on here for me, and I like it. I feel like there's references here to like war, but then like I said, like that war's happening around them. I'll laugh until my head comes off. Sort of feels like a total contradiction to talking about war. Oh man, I've said it in every song, and I'm gonna say it again. I love the vocals. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I actually really like this. I really, really like this. I feel like there's a lot of juxtaposition sort of used within this. Like, you've got like something bad happening and then something good happening, or you've got ice here and then fire. I really like the drums in this, like that kick, like boom, boom, boom. It's so good. I also love when songs do this, when you've got like a main melody line and then you've got like another melody line underneath it, so like layered lyrics, if that makes sense. Okay, I'm interested to see what this part sounds like. Oh, okay. Complete different vibe in the song, but yet you've got like that kick which stays the same. Oh, I love how distorted the kick is. It just sounds really like gritty, but I like it. I don't know if he's singing that or if it's like a vocal chop, but it sounds like they've done it really well where they've put it in just like one ear and it doesn't like feel overpowering. Okay, wow. Yes, I totally get what they mean about how this feels like it's so far away from their original stuff, I guess. But like, I feel like thus far of like the experimental side of things, like that was my favorite sort of thing that they've done, because it like works and it feels like they took a modern approach, I guess, of music that we hear a lot of now, of like, you know, like software instrument drums and stuff like that, but they did it so well. That kick was immaculate, and then the snare, it's just like the effects that they had on there was beautiful. And then you've got like this lyrics as well, of the juxtaposition of sort of the world crumbling around you and you're kind of just like here but not here. But next up we have got Morning Bell. I'm gonna read the about here because it seems to be pretty heavy, but apparently this was later reworked on the following album, Amnesiac, as Morning Bell / Amnesiac. A common interpretation of the lyrics is that the song is about divorce, a married couple splitting up. However, in a Q&A session from MTV in 2000, Tom talked about this track and provided another interpretation as well as some insight into the process of writing it. Is Morning Bell about a breakup or a divorce? Tom said not really no, that one's actually quite weird. When we came off from OK Computer, I bought this house, this empty house, and it had a ghost in it. What sort of ghost? Well, quite friendly, but a ghost. How did you know it was there? You just knew. You didn't say it, but you knew, so I filled up a whole mini disc of stuff, of songs, half-formed ramblings or whatever, and there was a lightning strike, and it wiped it all out. I was really upset because there was some really good stuff on it, but that was the general vibe of the house at the time, so I didn't think anything of it. Then I forgot about it. 6 months later, I was in an airplane coming back from Japan or something, and I didn't sleep at all. I hadn't slept for ages and ages. Suddenly I was lying there, and I'd forgotten all the stuff from the mini disc, and Morning Bell just came back to me. Exactly as I had written it, with all the words and everything. It sounds like it's about a breakup, but it's really not. It's about being in this house. So there you go. You know, things are never that direct with me, unfortunately. This, however, doesn't invalidate the divorce interpretation completely, as Tom said in another interview. I guess, yeah, like many songs you can kind of take into interpretation about what it means yourself. I mean, listening to 5 Seconds of Summer's most recent album, Everyone's a Star, like, they kind of disguised the songs as being like very poppy boy band-esque, but the lyrics were supposed to have like a deeper meaning behind them. So this seems to be about like, I guess, a ghost and how it felt like being in this house on his own, I guess. You know, I'm smiling because I'm happy that there's drums. Yeah, the drums kind of feel like, whoa, like where am I? That's a really nice synth. Okay, thus far, from what I'm kind of gathering from the lyrics, it sort of feels like Tom's having a conversation with this ghost, just saying like, you can have this house to yourself, but just leave me alone and release me, please. Okay, I was totally wrong, but apparently the candle and the release me part kind of is what comes back with this divorce thing. But I guess I can see this now, like release me, like let me go. Oh, hold up, that guitar just came in, I like that. Where'd you park the clothes on the lawn with the furniture? Okay. I can see the divorce side of things here now, like you're starting to not mess with your partner, but kind of like, what's what I'm looking for, like establish yourself with your partner, like you're parking the car in a different place, your clothes are on the lawn with the furniture, like what the heck's happening? But I did read here that a bump on the head could refer to domestic violence. Oh yes! There's those guitars. Oh wow, cut the kids in half. Okay, now I guess I see where this is involved in divorce, because it's like you're having to split the kids between the two parents here. Yeah, I don't know, Radiohead just have like this thing where they like can add so much to one song but yet keep it consistent as well. I don't feel like I'm listening to an incoherent, inconsistent song. They're just able to layer the song like something consistent in the background that just makes it work. Oh, I like that kind of like ad-libbing. Kind of feels like his voice is following the bass there a little bit. Okay, he's kind of just like talking these lyrics, it sort of feels like. I was gonna say, I feel like I'm trying to listen to what he's trying to say. Oh wow. See what I mean? Like, they're just adding more stuff to it. But it works, it sounds good. It's like intentionally placed there rather than just unnecessary stuff. Wow, okay, this is a very interesting song for me. I like it, but it feels very experimental. I'd say even more so than the last one, which was classified as like the most experimental, I guess. But, you know, it's all up to interpretation as well. I like that bass. The bass was very subtle in that, but it works really nicely. It's not, like, overpowering with the rest of the music. Okay, so that was Morning Bell. And next, we're moving on to motion picture soundtrack. They really love a good, like, film-esque based thing in their albums, don't they? Because we had, what's it called? Exit to a movie. You know, the previous album in OK Computer. I'm interested in this one. Originally written the same day as Creep, which could possibly be one of the most depressing and bittersweet songs of all time, Tom York muses over love lost and deep sadness. The song uses a haunting organ to set up the drug-induced coma imagery that harkens to a beautiful suicide for love and death. Wow. The implementation of a despairingly angelic arpeggio harp and parallel lyrics all help to summarise the song as Tom sings painfully, "I will see you in the next life." A fitting final track. Oh wow. Okay, I feel like I have to mentally prepare myself to listen to this. There's a lot of meaning in this and a lot to take away. This was written the same day as Creep, which is kind of like crazy to think about. How you can make something totally different in the span of literally like a day. Yeah, this organ does feel sad. Just wanna close my eyes and take it all in. It feels like these lyrics are sort of like aimed at him trying to speak about what it's like to get out of a breakup, like the depression that you can feel after a really hurtful and sort of sad experience. The lyrics are really quite deep in this actually, and you know, there's mention to like drugs here and suicide and stuff, but it's just that like that's how he's feeling when he's kind of writing this, trying to express his emotions and his feelings. I feel like saying I think you're crazy maybe is sort of like, I think that you're crazy to break up with him, but yet you can understand. Oh wow. Okay, that is wow. This album is just giving me goosebumps, like wow. I feel like this section here, stop sending letters, letters always get burned, it's not like the movies, sort of feels like breakups are not how they can appear on a movie. This is amazing. When I write music, like, I don't know how to explain this, but in the past when I've wrote songs, I have been really inspired by other artists that I've listened to, and this is exactly the kind of album, and specifically this song is exactly something that I would take creative influence from, because it's so unique and intricate and delicate, and I love it. Wow, okay, you've got that organ there that's just like pounds your heart. It's a very emotional song. I feel like music can really like set your own mood. Like I feel like I'm like listening to rock music makes me kind of want to like get up and dance, and like you've seen me have like a different kind of vibe for each song, and that song has just made me feel like I've had all the air sort of drawn out of my lungs. But we have the last song on this album. It's called Untitled. I always find it interesting when songs might be labeled as this. This is just the final song in this album, and apparently it's haunting, ambient, and an untitled bonus track. On the original pressing of the album, the song plays after a minute of silence after... Oh, okay. But in this, it's like licenses its own track. So it's kind of just like following on from what we've just listened to. Like there's space between that song and this. In this album on Spotify, they've just put it as its own song, even though it technically is in the previous song. Anyway, this is cool. I like stuff like this. I love when songs have like a little extended version at the end where there's nothing necessarily to hear lyrically, but there's just a whole instrumentation part that was thought out so intricately. Pause. That was Kid A. Wow. Some of my favourite songs, I want to say... Did I say I like the national anthem? Yeah, the national anthem I really liked. How to Disappear Completely. Optimistic. Idioteque. And Motion Picture Soundtrack. I think those are my favourite songs from this. Wow. What an interesting album. I kind of feel like I'm speechless after listening to this, because there was so much that kind of just went on within the span of me listening to that like I don't even know what to say. Like you saw all of my emotions kind of being evoked whilst I was making this. And I feel like, I don't know, I just like Radiohead because they haven't sort of like fit themselves into a box, and they've experimented perfectly. You know, you see a lot of other artists or bands sort of trying to go from one genre of music to another, and they just don't really execute it well. But Radiohead just somehow manages to do everything so intricately and with such artistic and creative intuition that it just seems to work. Like, I don't know if it's the lyrics or the instrumentation or it's everything combined, but it just works so well with what they try and do. And like, I just love the fact that they're able to make this album that is so different to anything else before. Like, I thought OK Computer was a more experimental album to, you know, Pablo Honey and the Bends, which at the time it was, but then they release this and it's just completely different to anything that I could have expected. I mean, going into all of these album listens, I'm going in with like an open mind, because, you know, any album could be about anything and sound completely different. So I went in with an open mind with Radiohead, and I am so pleasantly surprised and happy that I did, because I was kind of not expecting these feelings to, you know, appear. And Tom York just has like such a powerful voice that just makes me want to listen to everything. Like, he could read the list of ingredients off the back of God knows what, and I would be intrigued, because his voice is immaculate and beautiful. Now, next album that I do review, I want to make it kind of completely different to this sort of genre. So the next album that I am going to do is going to be The Art of Lovin' by Olivia Dean. Like I say, completely different, complete switch up, but I have heard a couple of these songs from like Instagram reels and stuff, but I have heard very good things about this album, so I do want to give it a shot. But then I can go back to Radiohead and Pink Floyd, and this channel is about just me listening to albums that people have suggested or that I'm immensely interested in. Like, you know, we can do Mac Miller at some point, or Steve Litt, you know, anything. I just love listening to music, and I know this is just fun to do. So if you have any more suggestions for albums that you would like me to listen to, as always, leave them in the comments below. Don't be afraid to comment anything. I had someone commented that they didn't really know what to suggest to me, because, you know, they didn't really know sort of my music taste. Honestly, to that person, you can feel free to comment anything, because my music taste is simply all over the place, so don't be afraid to, you know, leave any recommendations. That album, what would I rate it? I don't think I'm going to be very honestly open here. I don't think I liked it as much as OK Computer, to be very honest, and that might be an unpopular take. But OK Computer, it just kind of had that sound that I really, really, really like the guitars and the drums and the bass, whereas this album was a lot more experimental, and, you know, like, there was I really enjoyed it, but for me, I preferred OK Computer. I give OK Computer like an 8 or a 9. I would have to say I would probably give this like a solid 7 or 8, just because, like I say, I did prefer OK Computer, but there was some absolute gems in Kid A. Like, absolute complete gems that I just was not expecting. I mean, if we go to the albums, OK Computer is, you know, one of their most popular ones, and, you know, Kid A is a bit more of a underground album on Radiohead's sort of discography, but I'm not gonna lie, I did thoroughly enjoy it. That was amazing. If you made it to the end of this, comment burger, because my mum gave me this burger thing to stick on my my Stanley Cup. It's not a real Stanley Cup. But yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this video. Without further ado, that was Kid A by Radiohead.